Okay, folks, I wanted to make a video. This will be in a series of videos, the last one in the series, talking about the house and the corn crib burning down. These buildings were old buildings, probably built in the 1920s, 30s, something like that. They weren't something we were looking to burn down, but then again, they weren't something that was really being utilized. You know, I just figured that at some point we might get the tin off of them. The lumber was not that good. It was old pine. It wasn't heart pine. If it had been heart pine, we would have already salvaged it. The guy that built our cabin, in fact, he looked at this old house, and I asked him if he'd be willing to trade out, you know, the lumber and the tin for, you know, some of the labor on the cabin, and he said no. The problem was it wasn't heart pine. It was old pine that had powder post beetles and everything else. So it was pretty fragile wood. Wasn't really that useful, but it was holding up. And I hadn't planned on burning it down, but you know, that's how it happens sometimes. And on my videos, I'm not just going to show you all the things that go right. You know, I'm going to show you things that go wrong, because you learn a heck of a lot more from the things that go wrong than the things that go right. So anyway, we got these, or had these two structures built in the 20s, 30s. This is the old house, and then what's called the old corn crib, where they used to store corn, was right over here. Got a food plot there, got a shooting house there, and over here is the cutover that we burned, getting prepared for planting trees. So wanted to go over some of the mistakes that we made, and you know, just talk about some things that could have done differently. So in order to do that, let's just take a walk right over here. So the Forestry Commission actually plowed with a forestry plow through the woods around both of these structures in the woods only. And the reason we didn't want the forestry plow here in the food plot is because it makes a really, well, you can see there, it makes a really fairly deep cut and uneven. So we decided that we would take the tractor and disc around the food plot. And then the Forestry Commission, they plowed around the woods part. So he came in, my land partner, with a tractor right over there and disc this. All well and good. First mistake was over there, he didn't do that. And here's why. You look right here, this is an old road bed, and he disced this. So originally we were planning on just burning this block right through here behind the corn crib and up that hollow. Excuse me, sorry, I'm getting over bronchitis. So we weren't planning on burning this. So his thought process was, you know, we were already late, that's another red flag. We were about an hour later than we wanted to be. I want to start lighting it up about 11 o'clock. It was after 12 before we started lighting it, and the reason being is because we looked, noticed that our bush and bog plow, which I really like as a fire plow, it had an arm broke on it, so we had to swap out for another disc. And of course, anytime you're trying to move, swap equipment, you know, one headache after another, and find this pin and that pin anyway. So it was an hour later before we got started. So starting later was already a problem, because you end up, you're rushed, you feel rushed. Then another thing is, a friend of mine, I texted him and told him we were going to burn. If he wasn't busy, he might join us and help us out. And he said, well, do you need the help? And my response was, well, we can handle it. We've got a tractor, and me and my land partner, and we've got Polaris with water on it and a ATV with water on it. I said, we're fine, but you can always use an extra set of eyes. And that came back to haunt me. because the third thing that happened was that we didn't expect the unexpected, which is you've always got to do. Okay, our corner, our southwest corner is right up there. And this wind was coming from the southwest, blowing straight towards me, but it was coming downhill. And I started on the corner up there and then came down the corner a little bit. Well, it was pushing down the hill, the wind. It was also a light wind, not forecast to be more than light winds, which is usually a couple miles an hour. Well, it actually was more than a light wind once the fire started going. And it actually pushed a head fire down this hollow. It was the strangest thing, because normally you have head fires going up hollows or with a heavy wind. This was not a heavy wind, but the wind picked up. And my concern was that it was going to get down in here and then go up the hill with a wind shift. And that's not our property where those pine trees are. So I was coming down just as fast as I could down this ridge, lighting it up, trying to get it lit all the way down to keep it off the neighbor. And my land partner, he was doing the same thing back over there on that line way up there, because his concern was it actually came across here and jumped this road and got over into the piles, and then it started moving that way. So his concern was getting up there and getting it backed off, which we did that and we were fine. Didn't cross up there, didn't cross over here. In the meantime, while we're worried about that and tied up with that, the fire runs down through here, and somewhere in here, I'm not sure where because I wasn't here when it happened, it jumped over and got into here. And then it moved on and got under the building, and once it gets under a building, there's no stopping it. So, yeah, we could have done several things differently. Probably the one thing I would have done is I'd have had my buddy here, and when he saw the fire was coming down through here, he would have lit it off right here, a backfire, when he back it into the wind, and it would have blacked in a larger area, and that would have met the other fire and stopped it, and hopefully we wouldn't have had something spark over and jump into this little patch. So, several mistakes on our part, but probably the biggest one is if I was really worried about these buildings burning, I would have had my buddy come. I honestly did not ever dream that it would have pushed that fast with what was supposed to be light winds downhill to jump that fire break, but it did. So again, expect the unexpected. Always have enough people and equipment for the worst case scenario, and we didn't in this case. And you got to have contingency plans. We should have not only had this break here, but we should have assumed it was going to jump this break, worst case scenario, and finish the break around this old house. But I'll be honest with you, if I was in his shoes when he made that decision, I would have done the same thing. I would have said, we're already running behind. There's no need to put a finished fire break around the house, because we got a break right here. So anyway, so now we have, it's reduced to 10. I lost a few coon traps in here as well, but I'm gonna try to salvage the 10. I'm not sure how well burned 10 is gonna do for shooting houses, but it's fairly rusty as well. But I think we're gonna try it because it's free. Strip the rust off of it and prime it with a Rust-Oleum type primer, rust preventative primer, and then paint it and see how it does. Obviously, not all these sheets will be able to be used. We may get enough out of both structures to do, one of our big shooting houses, but we'll see. May not be worth it. I'm gonna take a look at it. May just have to scrap it, but that's the price you pay for this lesson. So stay tuned for more management videos.